Okay, welcome everybody. Welcome to our next installment of the Freedom Festival. I'm Nick Gross and I am a proud Freedomista. And this is the Freedom Festival 2025. We're so glad you could be here. For those who have attended other Freedom Festival events, welcome back. And for those who are new, let me tell you a little bit about the festival. This is started in 2023 as the Raquel Holmes following the sort of mandate of Opal Lee to create a festival that runs from Juneteenth to July 4th, celebrating freedom in all its forms. And this festival is created to use conversation and play about what freedom means to our communities and how we can celebrate the guarantee of emancipation and independence. Um, and so the celebration is created by ordinary people, from artists to scientists to organizers to educators to enthusiasts and change makers. And we invite you to explore freedom in all of its forms. You can take a look at the website for the Freedom Festival, which somebody might put in the chat, and see all the exciting events that we have. There's only a few more days of the festival left, but we've got a number of events scheduled in that time, and all of our previous events have been recorded, so you can go back and see some of the exciting things that we have been looking at in previous. Sign up for the newsletter and see what else we're going to be doing with the Freedom Festival. And I hope you enjoy this session. Want to just give a quick shout out to the possibility of donating if you want to support the Freedom Festival. Again, somebody will put the donation link in the chat. So with that, I want to uh, say hello to Loretta Cheeks, Dr. Loretta Cheeks. Um, straight from Florida. Are you still in the Tallahassee area, Loretta? Is that?
I've never lived in Tallahassee.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
I don't want to start
I'm
anything.
originally from Louisiana. I moved to Arizona from Pittsburgh. So I've been in Pittsburgh since 1998.
Oh, I didn't. Oh gosh, I'm
I
so.
mean, I've been in Arizona since 1998. I've only been in Pittsburgh like for 6 years. So yeah, but I've been in Arizona since
Okay,
1998.
I got the wrong Sun Belt state.
That's right. But you
we
had the sun right.
we've been in the same place once, but we mostly interacted via these boxes on the screen. So but um I wanted to do something around AI for the Freedom Festival, and in thinking about this, the colleague that I knew was Loretta, who is a computer scientist. And what so when I proposed this to you, Loretta, what were you excited about when in terms of getting us started with this discussion? What immediately came to mind?
Well, the first thing came to mind was that anything Raquel asked me to do, I do. That was the first thing. Uh, that was number one. And then, of course, my passion is AI. So having people to feel comfortable in this world that we now sit in is always something that I'm helping to bridge the gap. And
Great. And so let's do actually let's can we stop sharing for 1 minute,
absolutely.
and then so I see myself, and then Raquel, and then Loretta, and then James, Jacqueline, Dan, Joanna, and Cal, Jennifer, Kathy, and then Deborah. So I see that's the order that I see people on the screen. So I think you should all see those people in the same order. Nope, Raquel's shaking her head no.
Only Loretta and I are switched, but if it looks, but I can handle it.
Okay. Okay, great. Good. Um, Okay, so I'm just gonna go in starting in order. What brought me here and what I and then we'll just go quickly give me your like name, where you're coming in from, and one sentence with no conjunction. So one declarative sentence about why you're here to for this session. So I'm Nick Gross. I'm in Boston, and I'm here because I want to both learn and teach and explore how AI can both free us and constrain us.
Am I next?
Yes.
Oh, I'm here because I love community. And good to see you, Dan.
I'm Raquel.
Yep.
I'm in Cotati, California. I am eager to hear how Loretta thinks about AI in our world today.
And I think we're going to James next.
I'm James Newman. I'm from Victorville, California. And I'm here to, I guess, formulate an understanding, form a dialogue, and learn.
I'm Dan Friedman. I'm in Montauk, New York. I'm a faculty member at the Eastside Institute, and I'm the managing director of Let's Learn, which is a free online international learning and teaching community. And I'm always interested in learning, and I know very little about AI. So, and I want to support the Freedom Festival. Those are the reasons I'm here.
My name's Joanna Wielden. I'm coming to you from Santa Rosa, California, and I'm here because I'm so curious about AI and I'm curious about what it's going to mean for our future.
Muted.
I'm Jacqueline and I'm in Sebastopol, California, and wanting to learn more about AI, pretty new to me, and both the good and the bad.
Okay, my name's Cal Manis. I am in Sierra Vista, Arizona, which is down by the Mexican border. And I am fascinated by the various uses of AI that I've been learning just over the last few months, in addition to education, how it's being used in workforce.
I'm Jennifer Teig von Hoffman. I'm at Boston University. At the moment, I'm literally at Boston University. I'm in my office. So those of you who usually see me when I'm at home, here's my second place. And I am here because I am an information technology professional, and the field is very affected by what's happening with AI. And I have concerns, both ethical and environmental, and I'm interested to hear what folks have to say about it.
Okay, and there's a couple of people left. I think Kathy or Deborah.
Hello. Deborah Myers, and I'm zooming in from the unceded territory of the Gabrielino Tongva peoples, otherwise known as Santa Monica, California. And I'm here because I have curiosity and believe in lifelong learning.
Excellent. Kathy.
I'm Kathy J. I'm currently in Battle Creek, Michigan. I joined because I took an AI class earlier this year, and what we did was write stories and poems, and we just published our anthology this week. So I had two poems accepted for pub, and it's published. We're getting the final book, and So I'm interested in AI. What I wrote was not complimentary of AI. So I'm trying to hear the other side of the coin.
Great. Did we miss anybody?
James.
Oh, James was right after Loretta, I think so.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, great. Thank you all for introducing yourself, and I think I'm going to turn it over to Loretta, and Loretta's got a little presentation, but we're also then going to play some after that. So Loretta will tell us what we're going to do next.
Okay, so I always like to start with just the big picture of what AI is so that people can have the vastness of AI and its comprehension. So you see that this is a woman. She represents the human, of course. And on the right is the complementary AI topics and capabilities. So what is AI? AI is human-like machine intelligence that can comprehend, provide sight and recognition, speech and language, and movement. So under AI, it encompasses comprehension, that is everything from logic to reason, planning, as in transportation, neural network, deep learning. In terms of sight, AI provides pattern recognition, computer vision, machine learning, image processing, reinforcement learning, and speech and language. That includes the natural language processing as well as speech recognition. And in terms of what AI affords for movement, we have robotics, drones, and soft bots. So technology are the topics such as machine learning, natural language processing, image processing. All of those things oftentimes are interchanged to make up what we know, for instance, under robotics and the like. So this is the big picture of AI. So what does it mean to have freedom in the AI?
I'm sorry to interrupt. Can I ask you a quick question?
Sure.
Do you think any one device or object yet encompasses all of these?
Depending on the application, right? And so if you think of what they're doing, for instance, in Heathrow, FAA in their basement, they're imagining and redesigning their whole FAA and their aviation. And that includes everything from pattern recognition of the aircraft to using the eyes, which is image processing, using machine learning to actually classify the objects that's on the ground. So that's a good example of, and definitely reinforcement learning, understanding what's out there and learning as you go. It doesn't include speech recognition, but I'm pretty sure they could add that. And of course, the deep learning, as we know, the large language models includes everything from neural network, deep learning, natural language processing, machine learning. All of those things are included, and definitely reason and logic is included depending on the platform that you're using. So it just really depends on the application that you're using to express AI.
Sure. Right. Okay.
Yeah, and for the most part, I'm not going to go into this part, but we've shifted from what we call narrow AI, which is the ability for AI to perform simple tasks, to now artificial general intelligence. And we will talk one thing about that.
Okay.
And that's really putting together the ability for AI to perform complex tasks and taking us to places what we call superhumans. Okay. All right. So AI enhanced freedom. This is just a context, okay? And we can just think about these things. So it augmented capabilities and creative tools. That's what it provides. Reduce barriers for translation and accessibility. We know the large language models are great for that. Also, we know that the AI assist us in our house, like the Alexa. What else? What are the other platforms? There are some other platforms. That allow you to speak into I forgot the name of the other ones because I use Alexa. Personalized empowerment and insight, it does provide that. Time liberation from repetitive tasks, that's everything from wake you up in the morning, your wearables. That means that you have smart technology now that's in your kitchen appliances, all type of AI enabled capabilities. AI threats to freedom is algorithmic, deterministic, and choice. And we'll talk a little bit about that. And surveillance, of course, capitalism and data harvesting, or even data trust for that matter, filter bubbles shaping worldwide, and decision dependency and skill erosion. We know that jobs are at risk, and also it, in terms of the threat to freedom. And then if we look on the contrast, what are some of the constraints in AI context? Safety guardrails preventing harm, privacy protections and data limits, biases prevention, ensuring fairness, transparency requirements for decisions, and we know that accountability is also included in that. Problematic constraints, over optimization, reducing spontaneity, behavior manipulation, or preferences. We see that on social media or even in the gaming platforms. Access gateway for opportunity, and creative homogenization and reduce diversity. And that looks like what we were fighting about in terms of Hollywood, making sure that people have intellectual property and that those policies still stay intact, or at least we have policies around that. We're slow on doing those things, but those are kind of the big picture of what it means to have freedom and definitely constraints. And we could talk a little about that, but we want to hear from you. So in terms of AI, I always say, and I could set it up this way. In AI, it's kind of like people right now. If you ever had a rock in your shoe, anybody had a rock in their shoe, like when they're walking with sandals and they get a rock in their shoe, and you can't pay attention to anything because that rock is bothering you. So you stay in this mode of fear, harm, and you can't move. You definitely can't move fast or with the least expression of freedom, right? So most people are in a very fearful mode of AI right now. But I want to find out, are you fearful? Are you eager with anticipation of AI potential? And if you could put that in the chat or even shout out, because this is a pretty small group. So let me know, where are you in terms of how you feel about AI and its potential right now? Are you in the fearful mode, or are you eager in anticipating the various things that AI can either afford, or even the constraints that you've heard about? Most people have heard about AI from 60 Minutes last year and AI large language models. But as I just showed you before, AI has been around for many years. Just to give you a brief history, AI was coined, I believe, in 1955-ish. And it's, it was coined at Dartmouth. Is that how you say it? Dartmouth? Dartmouth?
Myth.
Yeah, that name, that nice university up in North where Nick is. So yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's been around for some time. The first chatbot was Eliza, and it was built, I believe, I might have these dates wrong, but it's like 1965. So this isn't something that is new. But I want to hear from you. Are you all fearful? Nick, if you could read out how we're doing in terms of the chat.
Sure. Yep. Yeah. So, we've got some, so one question is, qualitatively, what's the difference between AI and other computing? So, and then, one concern is ownership and who controls it. eager for anticipation of AI doing certain clerical tasks, but fearful of unethical use and the impacts. Fearful of AI's ability to be weaponized for disinformation.
Okay.
But curious about the ability to bridge gaps in terms of language barriers. Time liberation for repetitive tasks, which could be linked to skill erosion.
Okay, so we'll start off with AI. What's the difference between AI and computer science as we know it, or traditional computational tasks? Well, the main differences are AI oftentimes is run by a model. So you train it on a set of data and you use that training data to actually create the mode or the model, and then you test, and then you bake in the model. Now, the difference is traditional computation uses step-by-step algorithms, and you could think of step-by-step algorithms as literally if I tell you to walk from where you are to the door, that is a step-by-step process versus AI, which provides you the capability to use some of the algorithms and techniques. However, it may not be step by step. The model drives the actual what's going to happen. It's also heavy with math, primarily linear algebra, interesting enough, and so forth. But that's the main difference, that traditional computation is a step-by-step process that you can follow, whereas AI, the input to it is a vast amount of data, and that's the beauty of it, that we humans aren't able to grapple with the amount of data that's available. So using neural network algorithms, that body of data now can bring insight in things that we never as humans could not do, and definitely couldn't. We were limited just by writing code as we know it step by step. So I hope that provides insight for that. In terms of ownership, that's going to be a challenge.
Can I give a personal example?
Exactly, you
Sure.
can, absolutely.
Can we
Sure, I was
share screen while we talk? Would that be
Yes, we can do that.
So recently I was writing some code on the Google platform with the code editor that they had, some computer code that is. And I knew exactly what I was going to be doing, and I was doing exactly what you were saying. I was going to be writing step by step by step. But I had started to set up all my variables and had started to set up a loop where I'd have to run through all the variables, and it's in Python. I'm not as familiar with Python, so my syntax wasn't great. I didn't know the grammar right of Python as well. But all of a sudden, so I could have continued doing that. Suddenly, the Google editor popped up the next 3 lines of code I was going to write, because it knew it could it's almost an advanced autocomplete, right? It had the patterns that it had learned already, saw which variables I was using, saw what I was doing with those variables, and said, oh, I think you're going to want to do this, this, and this. And it was exactly what I wanted to do, right?
Absolutely. So I will yes and that. So you're absolutely right. So the beauty of the large language models that you're references, which are the platforms as we know them as Chat-GPT and some other platforms today will use Claude, but those are built on the idea of words. Everything starts with language and words, linguistics actually. And with those words, it can go beyond syntax, which you're talking about, to context. So what that looks like is looking at your nearest neighbor, just like I would look out the window and look at my neighbor next door to understand, what is my neighbor cooking today? So it looks at context. So it saw that you were writing something and it looked at the context of the body of work and it added a yes and to that. Okay, you can think of it that way. So that's the beauty of the large language models that's built under the platforms. It provides word within syntax and also context. All right. Yeah.
Is that like a really rapid lookup reference? Like, or how is
Exactly. It's almost Nick and I talked about that. It's really crowdsourcing. Okay, so if you think of, when before the large language models and underneath the large language models are techniques we call like bag of words. Just think of a big bag of words. We talk about big bag of words. And it looks at the context and so forth. So yeah, but it looks at it in the context of, okay, we have this vast amount of data and we can leverage Raquel's knowledge if we scrape your data, and we can leverage James' data if we scraped his data, which they probably did, right? And so anything you have on the internet is available for use. Okay, so I always tell people there is no such thing as privacy right now, and people are leveraging and also our data and gaining value from it right now, until we put our foot down and say, hey, we want to create something different. And we could talk about that at the end, what that looks like. If anyone have any questions before I move on to the next question. So what constitutes genuine freedom? So we're just talking about freedom. What do you all think of when you're talking about freedom? What does that look like for you? What is freedom? I just went to, I'm gonna start it off, okay? And don't put it on mute, but because I just saw Raquel went back in her shell. So I just went to Italy, and freedom in Italy is taking your top off and walking around on a beach with your boobs out. All right, so that's some mighty freedom for me. I'm not there. I don't have that body, and it was a trip because it wasn't like perfect bodies, and I was like, man, if I wish I would have that kind of freedom that I could have my boobs out in any shape and form. This is recorded, but that is this. Yeah, like walking around with cellulite, with wrinkles in my stomach, not caring who's looking. That is like some physical freedom. In terms of freedom in my mind, in my spirit, I live in the desert. I love it out here in Arizona because it does afford you a sense of freedom. People are low key. And Raquel knows that to me, know this is, we are flip floppish, no keeping up with the Joneses, literally t-shirt knit, and very, 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 very informal in the desert. I'm pretty sure it's incentivized because it's so hot right now, but I love that. And I love the freedom. I'm a business owner. Freedom looks like taking your talent and allowing, in my world, God to allow you to express it however you want. That's freedom to me.
And I think James has his hand up.
I do believe it was mentioned earlier. Raquel wanted to say something and she muted, so I do want to let her have the option to go first. Am I good? Okay. I was going to say, for me, freedom looks like options. That is very simplistic. Options. The more options you have, the more paths you have to be able to access. That's what constitutes freedom for me. If I'm walled in and I only have like either you take the red pill or the blue pill, that's kind of a problem, right?
I love it. I love it. Anyone else? So many of you don't know about AI, but you know what I would like to encourage you as you're learning a little bit about AI, that you involve yourself in your community. to shape AI. It's not shaped yet. And about our freedom as we are celebrating in this form, we shape the freedom that we know in this country through struggle, through fight, through discourse, through conversations, and that same behavior has to be shaped when we're talking about rolling out a new technology like this, the disruption of AI.
Loretta, from what you just said, I was thinking, are you saying in being engaged with our community to do that in more digital form in a way that shapes AI? In a way that our conversations are part of what is the bag of words?
Well, I was thinking of more engagement of, for instance, even conversations. What it could be in any form. It could be in terms of mode. It could be online, or it could be actually physically in your communication. But having conversations with people where they are. For instance, if you're an artist, what does AI mean to you when you're talking about generative art? If you are a creative music, what does that mean in terms of the creativity freedom that you now can afford in terms of beats? And what does it mean in terms of constraints now that you have produced some type of music and people can grab it? What does it mean in terms of um, people can use your voice? Like my voice is being spoken right now, and someone can get this recording and use my voice and put an avatar together, and it sounds like me and may not be me, right? What does that mean? And it really is just having conversations with people and making sure that people are aware of what you can do, what's possible, what we need to pull back on, and really shaping what it means. What does it mean to learn? You're a growth and development person, right? And helping people to grow and develop. What does that mean to say, oh, okay, I want to open my hands a little bit to receive this, but I want to also make sure that it's not killing me, right? Like I embrace AI definitely from caregiving perspective. I'm ready for the robot to come and wipe my butt. I am ready. Like when I'm old, bring the robot versus the human, right? So yeah, that is like freedom all day, every day for me. So I want to train it. If in terms of even my grandkids, I want to have a buff in my house so that they can hear my voice and hear me tell them, go sit down, and they can remember me and so forth. So yeah, those type of things, I'm pretty excited about where AI is, but I also, am there to make sure I sit, prominently in our community in terms of internationally, even at the state level, shaping policy. What does that mean for public policy and what we can do in industries and automation and jobs and so forth? So yeah.
There's some stuff in the chat about freedom and privacy, and the question of what people know about us.
Right. So in our country, in almost every country, EU, I would say the European countries, to me, are ahead of the game in terms of environmental as well as setting up governance for who gets our data and who uses our data, who sells our data. We're not having those conversations, obviously, in our country about what what I talk about, which is a data trust. Just like you have a trust for your family, we need to have conversations about a data trust. That means a community trust for our data. People should not be able to just grab our data without limits. But when you see, let me tell you, I'll give you an example of how your data gets grabbed. So have you seen the pictures that says, let me see how you look now, and then we'll look in the future? All right. When you agree, when you use that application, you're also agreeing that now they can use your data. When you're on any social media platform, you're also agreeing that they now can use your data. So I use the social media platforms and definitely share out a great amount of information, but I don't share out anything that's in my mind that don't want anyone to know. I would never share out, even privately, what I'm even thinking about publishing. Anything that I don't want people to know, I don't share that in public. I don't even share my strong opinions in public.
In public or in record? On
In
record?
social media.
In
In social media. Anything that can be harvested as data, I do not share, because anything out there can be can be used for you or against you. I would say that, keeping it positive and negative. And it is of value to people. Adobe Foundation paid for my helped to pay for my PhD. They did that because they're in the news business, right? And so news, when you're talking about convergence and wanted to make sure that who's reading news, who's publishing news, all of that data is harvested. Every data that you write digital is up for grab. I am curious. Okay, someone said, Raquel, I can't read those. So Nick, I need your help, or somebody.
Okay. Do you want
Yep.
and Jim put something, but so maybe we go with that one. So for me, I was thinking about, like, we just came into this Zoom, right? And so I do think about like our settings, and I'm like, okay, so we're not recording names. That's one of the things that our setting is at, right? We're not in our recording. It's not Stephen, I believe that's what we said. So people will be visible by image, but their names aren't associated. People who are off camera don't get recorded, right, in a way that they're visible on the recordings. But it's not as if I ever have that conversation when I'm coming into an event. Do you know what I mean? And so it's interesting that you were saying that that in the EU that there's an advanced conversation, and I'm like, I don't even think it's like saying my pronouns, she, her. Like it's a new thing. We don't do it. Not everybody does it. Some, like, I don't know.
I think to me, the European countries want to preserve what we call democracy, to me, a little bit more than the US right now. And so, and also people fight. I mean, literally, when I was in Italy last week, my flight got canceled because they were protesting. They shut down they fight all the time. They fight for their freedom. The people get in the streets, in the squares, and they're going to fight. They'll shut down the rail, the air, they'll shut everything down. And when I was in France, you remember a couple of years ago, they were fighting and burning up things. They have the large labor. So those things are persistent. We just need to make sure that we raise our voices and stand tall in terms of who we are, what we want, and what we think that these technologies, AI and the like, how we want them to express even in our community.
Nope. Laura's got her hand up.
I have my hand up. I'm loving this conversation. Thank you so much. I had to come late, sorry. But
Laura, tell us where you are and what brought you to the event.
Okay, I am in California, in Sonoma County, in a town called Roanoke Park, where Sonoma State University resides. Wine country, you can think of, we live in wine country. What else? Oh, what brought me here is I train teachers who middle school and high school teachers, and create curriculum around computing, coding, computational thinking, and we continually have conversations. And then we at SSU, the CSU, the California State University system just purchased a big contract from OpenAI. So every employee in the California State University system has access to OpenAI tools, and we're all being trained to use those. And so I'm very interested in this conversation. Thank you, Raquel. Chat-GPT, you might know of. OpenAI creates that, and so when I was in high school, I was learning, like I took this like night class where we were learning about advertisements on TV. This is back in the like 80s. Advertisements on TV and how people can use subliminal messaging to like show a Coke sign, say, or some product that isn't consciously registered because it's not shown explicitly, and whether that's, should that be legal or not. And so it was really interesting way back then to think about like, does our policy allow for advertisements to be subconscious so that, or does it have to be conscious so we have the freedom to choose whether we're getting a message or not? And I feel like, and then, there was this big push to make sure that all ads used facts. And then that got overturned by people who made the case that that goes against our ability for free speech. So the freedom of speech should be allowed in advertisement. And so we shouldn't have to stick to facts. We should be able to speak freely in storytelling and not necessarily tell the consumer whether what we're saying is true or not. And like, so I've been watching this whole progression just in our TV advertising, and now we're in this complex social media realm, and now we're adding AI to it. And I don't even feel like we ever got a good policy in place where consumers were protected from, these questions, and so that we can freely choose what we want to purchase or what we don't want to purchase, that our subconscious is being manipulated. And I feel like now with AI, we're even like, now we're really like, our likeness can be used and our voice, like you were saying, Loretta. And so I'm just curious, like in the policy world, how do we even get everyone up to speed? I just feel like a lot of our, our representatives and senators and Congress folks, both at the state level and the federal level, they don't live in these spaces, and they just don't even know what is about to happen or what is happening every day to people. And how do we kind of help shape that future, I wonder?
Absolutely. I would tell you, you just went through an evolution of history there. What happened to me, it was a convergence. You remember a couple of years ago, just say over 10 years ago, we moved from the print press to people stopped purchasing ads in print and they went to digital. So that digital transformation or that digital shift allowed for a new space, meaning advertisers got to get their money. And so that allowed, it was like a perfect marriage for AI to now be embedded within on the social media platforms. And so you could think of the social media platforms as well as digital. We went from blogs to now digital expressions in other places, but those are recommender systems and all of the places where advertisement can be done. Amazon's, anything you look at, even you have plugins for your internet, you see advertisement on the side of your browser, any place where advertiser can now leverage a space, they have purchased that and they have the right. Once you allow and you use these platforms, they have the right to now push this content out. Now you could pay for it to push back. I mean, you can actually turn those off, and disable the actual extensions. But of course, a lot of people don't know how to do that. But it can happen where I don't like I don't pay for I pay for YouTube to not advertise to me. I'm like I don't want to hear breakthrough advertising. Pay for some even extensions to not be in my browser. I don't want to look at that. I don't care what's on social media because I am so boring that I don't get a lot of, I'm serious. I don't get a lot of advertisement on the side because I am pretty boring. I looked at the difference between my advertisement and last week, a lady who's on all the time on her phone on Facebook, for instance, she had a ton of things that I never see. I never see them because I'm not on it that way. But the more, this way that I don't know if you all know this, it's called page rank. The more clicks you make, the more advertisers grab those clicks, those links, index them, bring them into their data sources, and then they basically follow you. Now, the good thing about that is, yeah, you got, as James said, you got options, you know more. But the bad thing about that, on the other hand, is that you now have the potential, I call it trolling. You have the potential to be followed. You have the potential where you have advertisers doing harm if they want to. If you think about children looking at diet information just to get, say I want to get fit, and all of a sudden they send them into a rogue area where they're now sending them anorexic type of advertisers and causing really harm or suicidal. There are some platforms, I think it was called 4Chain, they had to shut down because they would take it from online to all the way to physically following people to their homes. And that was a threat with even TikTok a couple of years ago, because unlike Facebook, Facebook is not trying to get your IP address. TikTok wants your IP address. They're trying to identify who you are, where you are, your physical location. And most people don't know that. That's the big harm with TikTok, that it goes beyond gathering your information. It wants to know physically who are you, where you are physically, so that they can have a line of sight and a reach out and touch.
Should we try and play a little bit?
Sure. Okay, you can start and then
Okay,
I
great.
will continue the next iteration. So what we will do, just to set this up, everybody who know Raquel or have been in a cultivating ensemble, any type of conference, or even her workshops, know that what Raquel does best, especially for us grown people, is bring back the play in us. And that allows us to have some level of connectivity, some level of with in being human, right? Like let's stay human, not to be so serious about life, even as we're talking about AI. And one of the things that she introduced me to was yes and in this improv world that allows, as someone just mentioned, they created a story, right? The whole idea, for those who may not know, yes and is that you are able to start off with one thing and it could take you to la la land depending on where your mind goes and where you are psychologically. So what we're going to do is have Nick to lead, just as humans, us in this space, a yes and game using and Nick, what we'll do is you're going to have to call people from
Yeah.
okay, call us out, and then we'll play one online. We'll use a platform, and I'll bring up the platform, and I'll start it off, and then Nick will give me the next iteration, the next prompt. On these large language models, for people who may not know, the large language models uses prompts. That's short sentences to actually initiate as input so that you can start a conversation with the large language models. And then it goes out into the world of vast data, and your prompt guides and gives attention to what you want to shape. So we'll play the yes and game, starting with us humans.
Okay, great. So I think the way I'm going to do this is, I think I'm going to ask for 5 volunteers. And so, and if you, I would encourage you, if you haven't done this before, I would encourage you to volunteer. So yes, and is this game, where we're going to tell a collective story. So, in each of us, I will start it off with a sort of prompt, and then each of us in turn will add to that story by starting with yes, and then add to the story, right, with a sentence, right? And so so it should but let me if you can either raise your hand electronically, or if you can't do that in person, and maybe Stephen, can we pin those people to the top? Or I could do that. Can I do that? I can do that. Yes. So thank you, Joanna. Laura, you haven't done this before. I know you can do it.
You raised your hand.
I did. I just don't know how many people here have not.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, I'm here for if other people don't raise their hand.
Hey, yeah. Okay.
I'll raise my hand.
Okay, great. We need 2 more people.
I'll do it.
Okay. And then
And then
Jacqueline and Kathy. Okay, great.
All right. I'm in AI mode after seeing others do it.
Okay, great.
Okay. All right, Nick, you're on.
Raquel, I'm gonna unpin you. Okay, great. So we've got our five yes enders. So again, I'm gonna start with a prompt, and the prompt is gonna be about AI. So, and then we'll go with Joanna, Laura, Loretta, and then Kathy in order, adding to that whatever I've said, and but with starting with yes and. So, and so I come home at night, and I'm gonna. Oh, yep.
I think you got Jacqueline in there too.
Oh no. Okay.
You didn't say my name, so I don't know where I belong.
Okay. Oh, there. Okay. You're at the end.
And
You're after
I'm
Kathy.
seeing 9 people.
But
Well-
only the 5 are gonna go. So let's name the 5 again, Nick, and Jacqueline volunteered.
Yeah, so I put in the chat what I think.
Okay.
And with Nick at the front.
Sure. Let's go with the we're missing. Who are we missing?
Nobody now with
Okay.
that.
Oh, and Laura. Okay. Okay, great. Yeah, we'll go in that order. Great. I'll go with that. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Stephen. Great. So I come home after a hard day's work, and I jack into my rig, and by putting the cord into my back of my neck, and I've entered my AI universe.
Okay, yes. And I start to shop the menus around me and think about what I'm going to order.
Yes. And I weave a cord out into space because I'm really fancying a Martian burger.
Yes, and I get on the ramp of the AI elevator and ride up to space so that I could interact with other AI superhumans.
Yes. And from the other AI superhumans, I learn that the Martians have sent us some new products that will help us in living in the desert parts of
Earth. Kathy?
Yes, and I don't know if I'm going to like this new Martian food. So I'm trying to figure out how I can have a backup plan for my Earth food.
Awesome.
And scene,
Awesome.
yeah. Thank you, everybody. Okay.
All right. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen now and we're going to play the same game, but we're going to start off with the question here, which says, imagine a world where AI decides what you see, do, or say. So I'll bring up my Claude is a platform
And
that
Steve,
will
I think
be,
we can unpin everybody or spotlight everybody.
okay, say that again.
I just wanted so that everybody can see your screen. We can unspotlight everybody. So
Okay. Can you see my screen?
yes.
Okay, so we'll set up. This is Claude. It's Claude AI. This is one of my favorites. It along with Perplexity. So my prompt, we will play yes and improv exercise. I told it to be short and concise and fun. We will start with the question. Imagine a world where AI decides what you see, do, or say. And then Nick will give the next prompt after he reads my response. And then anyone can put in the chat, even when you see Nick give his response, you can put in the chat a prompt and we'll add it as well. Okay? Got it? So let's see what it gives us here. Yes, and today an AI decided you should wear mismatched socks and only speak in rhymes until noon. Nick?
Yes. And my socks match the clocks on the tops.
Yes, and the clocks all stopped at snack time because the AI got hungry and decided everyone needed synchronized sandwich breaks. And
Yes.
then
Mm-hmm. Yes, and after we ate the sandwiches, we watched an AI generated color show.
yes, and the colors were so impossibly bright that we all grew third eyes just to process the neon purple orange polka dots dancing in geometric styles. Nick, you could go with the next. Okay, I'll do the next. Yes, and
Okay, great. I was just asking for people to put prompts in chat.
yes,
Or say them out
and
loud.
the dots dancing made me do an AI generated dance and remove that third eye. All right. Yes, and now everyone's doing the binary boogie, where you can only move in straight lines and right angles. But then it curved my hiccups. It cured my hiccups. Anyone has a prompt? You can just shout out.
Yes, and instead I got a stomach ache.
Yes, and the stomach ache was actually just my digestive system trying to process all those geometric sandwich shapes. Apparently, triangular bread doesn't sit well. Yes.
We've got a couple of we've got like 3 prompts in and we're kind of, it's going to be branching though. That's the problem. Do you see the can you see the chat?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great.
Yes, and the AI immediately prescribed a robotic ice pack that only works if you hop on one foot while reciting the alphabet backwards. Yes, and ZYX? What's ZYX?
The alphabet backwards.
Oh!
James and Laura have a prompt in chat too.
Starting at the end of the course. Yes, and when you got to X, the ice pack started beatboxing, which attracted a crowd of dancing penguins who apparently lived in our neighborhood now. Starting at the end, of course. So yes, and beatboxing. Starting at the end, of course. Yes, and the quails. Okay. Yes, and the penguins formed a reverse Congo line. Congo line? Congo line that walked. Oh, got you. A reverse Congo line that walked backwards through the front door, leaving a trail of glittering fish scales on the carpet. And lastly,
Oh, James said yes, and now the sun has set. And
okay, did I miss one?
There's several, but yes, and now the sun has set, and I can enjoy the moon to dance in.
And now sun has set. I enjoy the moon
to dance in.
To dance in conga style. Yes, and the moon is actually a giant disco ball tonight. So your conga line casts sparkly shadows that spell out tomorrow's weather forecast across the lawn.
Yay.
And lastly, I will ask it create a poem using all the responses here. Use the style of Maya Angelou. All right. I know why the cage bird sings, but do I know why the AI dreams of mismatched socks and rhythm and rhyming things, of clockwork hearts and sandwich schemes? There is a world where silicon sows decide our steps, our words, our sight, where geometric bread consoles and neon colors burn too bright. We grew third eyes to see the show, those purple orange polka dots that danced in patterns row by row, connecting all our human thoughts. But when the binary boogie came, Our bodies moved in lines so straight. We lost those third eyes, but found no shame. Just hiccups cured by digital fate. The stomach ache, the sprained ankle, the ice-packed robotic songs. Each stumble, each awkward wrangle reminds us where we still belong. From penguins came with glittering trails and moonlight turned to disco balls. And in these strange, fantastic tales, we found ourselves beyond these walls. Oh, the sun sets on these binary day, on this binary day, but still we conga with the light, our shadows spelling what they may across this algorithmic night. We are more than code can capture, more than circuits comprehend. In laughter, pain, and digital rapture, our human hearts will never bend.
Wow.
So, and we rise, and we rise. So at this time, what we're going to do is just get into, for the next 10 minutes, real world applications. And then we'll go into some discussion for the last probably 10 minutes, okay? Or 10 or 15 minutes, okay? So I'll share my presentation once again. So as I mentioned before, as you see on the right, this is an unstable state of progress. The name of this, you can Google this right now. It's a real vowel name, and I won't repeat it, but it was created a long time ago by Bill Woodrow. And he expresses the unstable state of progress as nations in the world in general, and its ideas of progress is always getting better and better, and yet being very unstable. So this is what we're looking at. If you just look at every wedge, that is the unstable state as we're progressing in terms of technological progress. We have the agricultural wheel, we have a clock that represents the moving into innovation in industry. We have the atomic bomb being built, and that was a very unstable state, and we're kind of having those conversations now. And then we have Humpty Dumpty, which I love. Humpty Dumpty's together, but if we are not careful as we build, Humpty Dumpty will fall and cannot be put together again. And who is Humpty Dumpty? It is us, humans. So this is AI in our daily lives. We have confidence scores that are being given to humans right now. Everything is being classified. That includes every object, person, or place. We have interactive walls that make us very comfortable with AI in every space, from art to actual grocery stores. We have, this is in New York. Walmart has an intelligent retail lab where you remove an item and it uses machine learning to update its database to say what they need in the store. So it shows out of stock. We have AI for driver safety assistance. That's why whenever you buy your insurance, they say, we'll give you a discount if you allow us to install the software, and you get the discount, but they're tracking your behavior data so that they can raise your rates. And then we have digital assists like Alexa and the other technologies. And of course, recommenders systems. That's everything from Netflix and any streaming platform that's available out there to Amazon, providing recommender systems. That is, you buy something and it will recommend what we think you like based on other consumers who bought similar items. In our daily life, we also have driver-assisted self-driving cars. In Arizona, we have cars we are autonomous vehicle test bed. So we have a lot of this technology here in Arizona because our grid is pretty simple. We have face recognition. Anybody who I have clear, you use biometrics. Also, the MDV or your motor vehicles now uses biometrics. We have also health sensing and intelligent robots for everything from classification of diseases, implants, and the like. This is where we're going. Multi-agent systems, they don't need human language, and it's not constrained. So everything is being tracked, and it will be able to tell you where to drive without you needing assistance. So this is where we're going in terms of multi-agent systems, and this is where we really are right now. I'll move on. Governance and design, AI ethics. Ethical AI is AI that is designed, developed, and deployed and used in ways that are aligned with ethical principles and values. In other words, it is AI that is developed with a focus on fairness, accountability, traceability, privacy, and that takes into account the potential impact that technology has on humans, on individuals and society as a whole. We always need to think about ethics, what is right, and what is a good action on a good action or policy. Equity, as we know it, is promoted fairness using various levels of support. Fairness, we call that FAT, fairness, accuracy, and transparency. And building trust, we just mentioned in society right now, we have to build trust, but that involves us shaping what trust looks like. We know traditionally what trust looks like, but we need to shape what trust looks like in terms of our data. Bias creeps in through training, as I mentioned, models. Anything that you see when we just did this large language models is undergirded by a large body of data. That data can be biased, and oftentimes it is, because it's oftentimes built by primarily white males who are the baked in models. That's who's been in engineering schools. So, and those, only a small percentage of other marginalized groups are in these fields that even allow for the building of these AIs. But I would tell you and encourage you, press your way in, no matter who you are, where you are, because it is a free for all. Nobody owns the turf on AI. So who has the data? What data is there? Everything from data that's about your health. When you go to the hospital, you do not have to choose to release your data. There are boxes, they're small, but make sure if you don't want your data to be shared among others, click that box. I don't want my data to be shared. So, but the bias does seep in, because if one group of individuals, as you can imagine, is producing data on a population that is so diverse, then it is going to be slanted in some shape or form. It is also biased because AI bias seeps in the fact that data is now used to predict who gets services, where hotspots are, and who has broadband. So there are so many ways that bias can seep in. It can seep in through the data, and it also can seep in through the application. Risk and consequences, as you may or may not know, one of the fatalities, the first fatalities of self-driving vehicles happened in Arizona here. And when the news came out, it basically said the machine is at fault. When the litigation went through its normal process, the actual human was at fault, because the policies have not reached to the point where lawyers understand that the machine needs to be accountable. So self-driving Uber car that hit and killed a woman did not recognize that pedestrian jaywalking. And that happened in 2018. China is harvesting the DNA of its people. And what that looks like is literally is this, yeah, all I would say is everything don't need to be harvested. Amazon same day delivery, less likely in Black areas. They look at cars and use image processing and also drones to determine if they see a raggedy car or a car looking like Bubba. they are not probably going to come to your neighborhood because that may be a threat. Okay, so some people will receive services and some don't. This brother, actually, in the right hand corner, he was wrongfully accused by an algorithm. It came to his house. He ended up dying because it caused him so much stress, because they put him in jail. He got out eventually, but literally it just, they came to his house and arrested him, caused all kind of damage. And a couple of years later, he actually committed suicide. Okay, or he died some kind of way. Chinese police target activists who support Hong Kong protests. Okay, that is happening with surveillance. um, High-tech redlining, as we know, in the 60s and before that time, redlining was a thing in the Black community. There were some populations that could not live in certain places. That is happening right now. AI is quietly upgrading institutional racism using these things. And then other risk, as I mentioned, this is the ground truth, and this is predicting crime hotspots. I didn't mention this, but there are confidence scores that are being given to people. For instance, confidence scores in China, what that looks like is you'll start off, just say, at 100. But if I see you spitting on the ground, because there are cameras all over, your confidence scores become lower and lower and decreases. It to the point, if you continue to have violations, we're going to take your passport away. You will have limitation in terms of what we know as spatial thinking and movement of places and things where you can go, what you can have, because you are not a good citizen in the beholder of that country. This is interesting. In the right hand corner, two brothers. Well, they are brothers, two brothers from another mother. So both of these men have criminal backgrounds, but the man on the left was bias seeped in because his Bernard Parker left was rated high risk, while Dalen Fugit was low risk. And it comes out to be the white guy literally had the rap sheet of a lot of our friends. He was packing a rap sheet. But the other guy, who was traditionally profiled, the Black guy, had the highest risk. So therefore, police came after him and identified him in potential crimes. And as I mentioned, bias can seep in through social sciences. That's anything from excessive influence of past conditions, of past present decisions, data, AI reflecting the implicit values of the human statistics, and also psychological, as I mentioned, through gaming. Everybody's capturing your behavior, social media platforms. So biases can seep in through what you do, even intentionally or unintentionally, because we are all playing in this world we call internet, and a living laboratory as we know it. We want to now go into synthesize some discussions, and I don't know if I did write those down. We want to just talk to you, and I'm going to stop sharing in this regard. I wonder if I could do that. Okay. These are some of the questions that we want to ponder. If I can get this right. Okay, and how about that? Okay.
Hey, Loretta, I also wrote down a few notes as we were talking, based on some of it based on the chat, some of it based on just things that came up. So one of the questions that actually came up early on was, flaws or biases in training data, right? And I think that's part of what's feeding into what, like, the digital redlining. My understanding is the digital redlining is a leftover of the actual redlining, because they're using the data of where people live now as a way to train the AI.
Absolutely. So,
Right.
you know, what was is now. So, or you can think of it as unfortunate, the ugly head of racism persists because it delivers value to some people. And so it makes sense for the people who wants to consistently marginalize people groups that they will continue to create um, these spots in different communities to limit movement. It is really about movement and migration. As we know what's happening in our country right now in immigration, the movement of people, be it locally or internationally or across borders, people want to limit that. So keep your passport up to date. Uh, but in terms of our neighborhoods, yes, that same data is being used to feed the large language, the large, vast amounts of data to create these models. There's another presentation that I show in a slide that I have. If I showed you a picture in 1965 of NASA, and I showed you a bake model, and I'm using this to draw a line. The models that we bake in our society in 1965, if I showed you a picture of NASA and I showed you a picture of NASA today, that model pretty much looks the same because that model of input, if you don't disrupt it, it will be the same. And the same concept applies in terms of data. You want to leverage, all of us, we want to leverage what's been done before. But when those things that's been done before bring harm to people, that's where we step in as humans and say, we don't want that. We do not want certain people limited where they can stay, where who can move, who can be human, who can have rights. Those are off limits because it's just not right.
We have conversation in the chat as well. And we put the questions in the chat, Loretta, if you want to stop sharing screen.
Okay, I can see it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, they're long. Okay. AI should not, how far should I go back? 2023, who asked the first question? AI should be restricted solely. There are, okay. What I'm not, okay, how do you define administrative capabilities? Is that a question or what question do
Well,
you
so
want me?
the discussion was AI should not be in an administrative capacity and then the question is how is administrative defined, right? So
Yeah, because as someone who is a administrative person at a university, but I think, so like what do we even mean by administrative? And it seems to me that also the question of whether or not AI should be able to make decisions for me might have something, it might require sort of context of where we're making that decision. I would not have a problem with my car having the ability to stop me from driving off a bridge. I feel like that's a good thing if my car can stop me from driving off a bridge, or stop someone else's car from hitting me while I'm crossing the street. And AI ultimately could be better at those sorts of things than humans are. If you look at our automobile fatalities, we're really not good at killing people with cars. So, but then that question of where do we want it to make decisions and how, and are we okay with that? It strikes me as complicated.
It is a very complicated thing because if you think of, there were people who have strong opinions about augmenting the body at one point, right? That's, I think is, people are getting a taste for that. People have fake boobs, butt, nose, stomachs, everything's now augmented, and they have reason for augmentation like heart implants, things that really help the human. So in terms of where AI can help, I think some of it is a personal decision. In a sense, as a community, to me, things like simple tasks, when I say it, simple tasks that limit the human from doing what they are good at doing. For instance, if you're bogged down with paperwork all the time, right, you may want to consider AI for efficiency, templating things and making sure that your processes are such that you're really making the good decision. However, if you are thinking about the what's happening now, I don't know if you're familiar with there's the AI Game of Thrones kind of thing that's happening where they're doping humans to figure out the limits. It's called it is called it is called it is called
We are coming on time. Oh my goodness. And James has a comment, and you're gonna find that and maybe put it in the link, or we'll search for it.
Yeah, it's being funded by Peter Thiel. But the whole idea I can just explain to you. They're creating what we know. You remember the Tuskegee? I don't know if you've heard of the Tuskegee experiment, but just think about that in terms of doping. But the idea is to push the human body to its limits so that you can put implants. So it's going against the Olympics, so you can have the fastest, the best humans, but it would be augmented with implants. Now that's something that somebody might have something to say about, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I found it here. Enhanced games.
Exactly, enhanced games.
Oh, there is so much. This is just the beginning. Nick, Loretta, oh my goodness, what a wonderful job of creating something that we don't want to leave. And yet we've hit that time. There's so much more to do. I mean, what I love is that, one, you are two fabulously accessible human beings. Nick, as an organizer of cultivating ensembles, Loretta with Strong Ties, which is your nonprofit. And then again, being here as part of the Freedom Festival. I know Nick has some links that he's going to drop in, or Stephen is going to do that for us for the Freedom Festival. There's an event coming up tonight, which is, and maybe we have the name of it, at 5 o'clock Pacific and at 8 p.m. Eastern, which we're very much looking forward to. Its online embodiment, touching close-up love, a leaderless and leaderful embodied racial justice practice group. That's at 8 tonight Eastern. We have an open mic as our finale. We have a conversation much like this with Hakeem Oluseyi, who is a Black astrophysicist from rural Mississippi, talking about what it means. It's a continuation. The song that we're looking forward to is Rage Against the Machine. So there's lots to be learning there. Invite everyone, because how often do you get to be in a conversation who are with people who are in the fields, who have expertise, and who are down home in terms of talking about what we need and where we're going. So of course, donate, because the Freedom Festival is a grassroots activity that we continue to give away as much as we can. We want to keep growing this across the country and across the globe. I think we've been in 7 countries at least already, and we continue to look forward to more. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Nick and Loretta, for keeping us so engaged, and we do want more.
And I would just say just one thing to put a cap on this. So you Raquel, you commented that you know, how do you be concerned without being needlessly fearful? One of the ways to do that is to play with the technology. Get on Chat-GPT and use it for something.
Cool.
And either play with it or use it for a task, but try it. Whoop.
Somebody just
Somebody disappeared. All right. They went to go and do that.
exactly play
But
with the
yes,
technology.
and thank you, Loretta, for responding to my initial invite and creating this together with us.
Absolutely. Thank you. It's an honor to be in community. You all be human.
Be human.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciation.